Harlem, New York. The stadium lights flickered above, humming like moth wings in the cold October air. On the field, a teenage boy stood motionless. Number 54, linebacker, helmet in hand. His name was Tariq Belton. He was 17, with shoulders too broad for his frame and eyes too old for his age. Every Friday night, he hit harder than anyone else. Coaches said it was passion. Some whispered it was pain. No one asked where he went after the games. No one saw the bruises he didn't get on the field. He could have gone pro, said his uncle, Reggie Belton, years later. Kid had the fire, but he ain't have the world. The world had him. Tariq's mother, Monica, worked 2 jobs, a nurse assistant by day, home health aide by night. His father, Luther, disappeared after a stint at Rikers, like many of the men on their block. And so Tariq raised himself between school, practice, and silence. He used to walk his little sister Zara home from school, clutching her hand like a lifeline. She was 10 when she got caught in a crossfire. Wrong place, wrong street, stray bullet. The cops said she shouldn't have been there. No one asked what it did to Tariq. Bronx, 2002. By the time he was 20, he had 2 charges, one for resisting arrest, the other for assault. Both dismissed, both born of anger, misunderstood. He told a counselor once, "It's like I black out. I see red, and the next thing I know, I'm in cuffs or bleeding." The counselor never followed up. "If you want to understand the monster, you got to start with the wounds," said Detective Anaya Rhodes, who'd later lead the case. And this one, he was bleeding before he ever pulled the trigger. Queens, 2024. A brownstone in Jamaica Avenue. 3 bodies, 2 women, 1 man. All shot execution style, no forced entry, no fingerprints. The media called it random. The NYPD called it gang-related. But Detective Rhodes didn't believe in randomness. Not here, not after she saw the photo. All 3 victims were connected. A public defender, a caseworker, a former coach, all from Tariq's past. "We don't have a serial, just a pattern," said Lieutenant Harris during the press conference. "These are isolated incidents. We urge the public not to speculate." But speculation was all the community had, because the people dying weren't just statistics. They were teachers, mentors, social workers, black, brown, forgotten. And each had, at some point, failed a young boy named Tariq. Tariq Belton, age 42. Neighbors said he kept to himself, worked part-time at a junkyard, always wore gloves, never raised his voice. He wasn't a headline. He was a ghost. But inside, the silence was volcanic. Flashback, Zara's funeral, 2001. Tariq stood at the front, fists clenched so hard his nails cut skin. The Reverend said she was in a better place. He almost laughed. The detective assigned to her case misspelled her name. The DA said there weren't enough witnesses. The case was dropped. "I don't think Tariq woke up and decided to kill people," said Jordan Ellis, an investigative journalist covering the case. "I think he remembered who didn't care, and it broke something in him." Jordan's own brother had played ball with Tariq. She remembered him, quiet, awkward, smart. She'd written about broken systems before, but this one was different. This one looked like home. Surveillance footage, Brooklyn, April 2025. A man matching Tariq's build enters a halfway house posing as a janitor. The next morning, the director is found dead in his office, gunshot to the chest. A photo pinned to the wall behind him. Zara, age 10, smiling. As bodies started to drop, the city whispered, "Is it revenge? Is he choosing justice? Or is he just broken?" Detective Rhodes stood over her corkboard, thread connecting names, faces, dates. She knew what they were missing. This wasn't about thrill, it was ritual, a reckoning. Each murder was a mirror Tariq forced the city to look into. Every name on his list, people who failed him or children like him. Manhattan, NYPD briefing room, May 2025. "We waited too long to connect these," Rhodes said, "because the victims weren't rich, because the killer wasn't white, because the pain was invisible until it bled out." "What makes a man become a killer?" Jordan Ellis asked in her podcast. "Is it one moment? Or every moment no one showed up for him?" She plays a voicemail, one she found on an old burner phone discarded in a dumpster. It's Tariq's voice, low, cracked. "I tried. I swear I tried. But you can't outrun ghosts, not when the city keeps birthing them." Ending scene. Undisclosed location. Tariq watches the news. They're calling him the Avenger of Harlem. Others say, just another thug. He closes the laptop, pulls a photo from a worn wallet. Zara again. His breath slows. The next name on his list is already circled. The city kept moving. That was its curse. A week after the shootings, the news cycle shifted. The mayor held a press conference promising a thorough investigation. The NYPD released a vague profile, single male, early 30s, possibly ex-military or with tactical experience. Nothing confirmed, no name, no face. But in the Bronx, people already knew. They whispered it in barbershops and bodegas. Didn't that boy used to play ball? 8 years earlier, Kamari Dupree sat alone in the locker room, jersey soaked, shoulder pads weighing down like bricks. The state championship game had ended in heartbreak, not because they lost, but because he didn't feel anything. Not pride, not sadness, just cold. He looked across the room. Coaches celebrated the white quarterback's 3-touchdown night. Kamari had 20 tackles and a forced fumble. No one mentioned it. "Keep your head up, son," one assistant muttered, barely glancing. That night, his father, Darnell, a sanitation worker, said nothing on the ride home. He just turned up the old Anita Baker cassette and drove in silence. Kamari's mother had died 3 months earlier. A stroke. No warning. Medicaid delays had kept her from getting the tests she needed. She was 46. After that, something inside him had folded in on itself. Back in the present, Detective Ayanna Merritt stood at the edge of the third crime scene, this time outside an abandoned church in Mott Haven. The air smelled like rust, incense, and something else. Grief, maybe. 3 bodies this time, each placed with care. Not dumped, arranged. One had a folded paper over the chest. Merritt flipped it open. A list. Names. At least a dozen. And 4 already crossed out. Her hands shook slightly. Jordan Ellis, the investigative journalist who had once covered city corruption, now found herself buried in grief profiles, victim interviews, parent testimonials. She'd been the first to connect the shootings, not the cops. 3 killings in 3 boroughs, same caliber weapon, same post-mortem pose, same message carved into a nearby surface. "Do you see us now?" She pitched the pattern to her editor. They passed. "It's too vague, not enough outrage fuel." So Jordan followed her own lead. She interviewed the mother of Javon Wells, the second victim, a college dropout in and out of court for petty theft who had once led his church youth choir. "He wasn't perfect," his mother said, voice trembling. "But he mattered, and now they act like he was disposable." Jordan wrote her name on her notepad. Then she underlined it. After football, Kamari joined the army. He came back hollowed. He filed 3 claims with the VA. one for PTSD, one for insomnia, one for persistent migraines. Denied, delayed, denied again. At night, he heard the sounds, whistles, screaming coaches, sirens, gunshots, silence. He applied for a security job at the MTA. Background check flagged his anger issues. No job. One by one, every door closed, until the only door left was the one inside his own head. He started recording audio diaries, whispering into the darkness. They think I'm invisible. They don't know I remember their names. Ayana knew what the department thought. Just another gang thing. But her gut disagreed. She studied the evidence board at one police plaza. Every victim had some record, but also a record of being failed. One died after being denied emergency psych care. One had been shot before but never given witness protection. One was a black trans woman whose report of assault had been lost in paperwork. What if the killer wasn't just hunting? What if he was making a point? Ayana pulled a sticky note from her desk drawer. It read, "What don't we see when we stop caring?" She pinned it beside the timeline. By now, word had spread. Some saw the shooter as a monster, others a mirror. Barbershop debates got louder. You can't excuse murder. No, but you can understand it. A youth counselor, Raheem Sykes, said it best. When a system keeps stepping on someone's throat, eventually they stop begging. They start biting. Jordan and Ayana crossed paths in a dim hallway after a vigil. You writing another expose? Ayana asked. Trying, Jordan replied. But this story feels alive, like it doesn't want to be told. Ayana handed her a photo. Kamari Dupree, 29th, discharged, former linebacker. Name came up twice from community tips. Jordan blinked. I went to high school with him. The silence was heavy. Then you know, Ayana said, this isn't just about crime. Flashback again. Kamari sat on the rooftop of his building, voice recorder in hand. Today I saw the obituary of a boy I mentored, killed in crossfire. No news, no candlelight vigil, just gone. He looked down at his palms. They took everything. My mom, my name, my future. You know what's funny? I used to pray. He stopped the recorder, stood, and disappeared into the night. They finally got a location ping. A storage unit registered under a false name, but the scent of old football gear and disinfectant lingered in the air. Inside were blueprints, city maps, photos. One wall covered in newspaper clippings, all about victims no one remembered. In the center, a single phrase scribbled over and over. Nobody heard us, so now you'll listen. And beneath it, the next address, a high school, his old one. 2 weeks since the first body. 5 bodies total. Now the city had no choice but to pay attention. Flashback to the game day senior year. Bleachers packed, air thick with sweat, popcorn, and potential. Kamari Dupree exploded off the line like a missile, tackled the star quarterback so hard he fumbled midair. Crowd went wild. But when the local paper came out the next morning, front page, white QB leads comeback. Dupree injured. He wasn't injured, he just stopped smiling. Now present-day South Bronx, Detective Ayana Merritt pulled into the cracked parking lot of Theodore Roosevelt High School. The halls smelled like faded bleach and lost dreams. Security cameras blinked like dying stars. Room 212. Kamari's homeroom back then. Now it was a tech lab, but taped under the desk, Ayana found it. A dusty voice recorder, still warm to the touch. She pressed play. They didn't see me in this room, but I saw everything. The cheating, the pills, the coach who called us animals when he thought the mic was off. I kept the tapes, all of it, just in case one day someone asked why. Jordan Ellis hadn't slept in 36 hours. Coffee cups stacked, laptop overheating, eyelids twitching. She found it. A civil complaint buried in court records. Kamari's mother had sued a city-run clinic for neglect 3 months before her death. The case was dismissed without hearing. The presiding judge, Julius T. Mayfield, retired, living in Westchester. Victim number 3. The pattern wasn't random anymore. Each victim wasn't just part of the system. They were the system. The abusive gym teacher, the indifferent judge, the detective who falsified a witness report. Each one had a name. Each one had history with Kamari. This was personal. Every system is built on silence. I'm not here to destroy the system. I'm here to make it speak. Word spread about the pattern. Teenagers made TikToks connecting red strings and old yearbooks. Mothers cried into camera phones, "If the city won't protect us, maybe he is." The city was boiling, not just in fear, but in conflicted empathy. Some wanted Kamari caught. Others whispered his name like a warning or a prayer. Ayanna got the break she needed. Kamari's old football coach, still coaching at a charter school in Harlem, called in a tip. He'd seen Kamari, or someone like him, lurking near the field last night. Ayanna moved fast, plain clothes, no sirens. But when she reached the bleachers, a recorder was waiting, clipped to a goalpost. "You almost had me. But you're not ready yet. The real game hasn't started." In a dim, flickering basement, Kamari stares into a camera. He's thinner, eyes sunken, beard grown out. He speaks softly, calmly. "They'll call me crazy. They'll call me evil. But they won't call me invisible again." The camera pans behind him, a corkboard covered in names and photos, some crossed out, some circled. At the center, Detective Ayanna Merritt. She returns home after another failed lead. Keys drop, gun holstered. She turns on her light and freezes. A photo sits on her kitchen table, her 9th grade class picture. A circle around one face, Kamari Dupree, and on the back a message written in sharp ink. "You didn't see me then. I wonder if you will now." This was never just a killing spree. It's a message. Every shot fired, every name crossed out, an answer to the question no one asked. Dust spirals in the early light. The old community center had been condemned for over a decade. Mold crawling up the walls. Kids used to come here to hoop after school. Now it was a mausoleum of abandoned dreams. Detective Ayanna Merritt walks through slowly, flashlight sweeping across broken windows and sagging floors. She's alone, except for the static coming from a speaker in the corner. Then, Kamari's voice. "This is where they taught me to fight, but not to feel. Where they told me I was gifted, but never helped me escape. Where they told me I mattered, then let my mama die in the waiting room of a clinic that lost her name." A projector flickers on, Kamari's home videos. His mother braiding his hair, him dancing to 50 Cent in the living room. Laughter. Then silence. The last clip. His mother wheeled into the ER. No one rushing, no one running, no sound. Just the cold, blank look on Kamari's face as he filmed it. Back in the present, citywide search, Kamari had become a ghost in his own city. But the walls started talking, whispers from ex-classmates, notes tucked under windshields. A janitor found a duffel bag in a boiler room, old court transcripts, a pistol, and a list of names. Only 3 left uncrossed. Ayanna Merritt, Mayor Lyle Washington, and a 16-year-old girl no one recognized. Jordan Ellis sat in her apartment with the heat off and blinds drawn. Every lead burned her deeper into Kamari's mind. She found the girl, Dea Lanier, group home, in and out of juvenile. No parents, no priors, but she had a sealed witness statement in Kamari's mother's malpractice case. Her testimony had been removed from court by administrative error. Her voice erased. Kamari never forgot her. And now she might be his final mercy, or his final lesson. Fog rolled thick off the East River. Kamari stood in the shadows, watching Dea walk alone across the bridge. Hoodie up, shoulders hunched. He didn't raise his weapon. He didn't speak. He just stepped forward. And she turned to him like she'd been expecting him. "I remember you," she said. "You were the only one who asked if I was okay." "Nobody believed me," he whispered. "I did," she replied. "I still do." He dropped the bag at her feet. Inside, all the recordings, the photos, the names, the story. "Tell it," Kamari said, "before they twist it." And then he disappeared into the fog. They found Kamari 2 days later. He turned himself in at a local news station. No fight, no theatrics. He handed over the gun with a quiet, "I'm ready to be seen." The trial shook the city, not because of the evidence, but because of the evidence of silence. The judge wept. The mayor resigned. Ayana sat on the stand and said into the mic, "He wasn't just a killer, he was a mirror." Voiceover by Jordan Ellis, podcast episode number 1, The Boy in the Bleachers. They called it the NYC shooting, but they never named what came before the bullets. The doctor who clocked out early, the teacher who looked the other way, the judge who shrugged. Kamari Dupree was a child who begged to be seen, and when they didn't see him, he made them remember. And now we have to ask ourselves, what would you have done if it were your son, your neighbor, your city? If this story shook something in you, share it. Stories like this need light. And hit the subscriber button for more true crime stories like this.